So guys, today we're going to start with the writing, then we're going to move to the grammar part. As I said, the writing part in worksheet 2 is a graded homework. So first of all, what you're going to write or what type of paragraph you are going to write. So this time you are going to write an expository paragraph, especially advantages and disadvantages. Okay, but first of all, you have to know what do we mean by expository paragraph or informational paragraph. Okay, when we say expository, just let me admit your friends. Okay, guys, when we say expository paragraph, we are giving information. When we say expository, we mean informational. Okay, we mean informational paragraph. So when we say expository paragraph, I have either to give information about a certain topic, explain a certain topic, give directions, or show how something happens. Guys, are you all? Is my voice glitching, or only at Hassan computer? Okay, طيب ماشي, it's good. Okay, it depends on the quality. It depends on the quality of the internet at your home also. Okay, Ibrahim is saying it's clear. طيب, let's continue. So when we say expository or informational paragraph, we mean that we are giving information, explaining a certain topic. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop the chat. Explaining a certain topic, giving directions to do something, or to show how something happens. Also, in the expository paragraph, I have to use linking words like first, second, then, and finally to help the reader, okay, to help the reader organize the ideas. This is just a definition for expository paragraph. So when we say expository paragraph, then we are giving information, okay? What type of expository paragraph we're going to talk about or write? We're going to write advantages and disadvantages paragraph. So what must I give in the paragraph? I must give advantages and disadvantages. Just a second. I was admitting your friends to enter. So the type that especially we're going to write about is advantages and disadvantages. So who is going to tell me what I'm going to write about? Al-Tahini?
Yes,
Okay. So what do you mean by expository paragraph?
it is a expository paragraph. You give information and you explain a subject, give directions, or
Okay.
show
Yes.
how something happens.
I want from you what you understood to give information and what type we're going to write about this time, or what type we're going especially to give
Advantages and disadvantages.
advantages. Excellent. So this time especially we're going to give advantages and disadvantages. When we give advantages and disadvantages, then we are giving information. Okay. As you know that every paragraph must consist of a topic sentence, details, and concluding sentence. So what must I write in the topic sentence? The topic sentence, let's take Karim Basma. Karim, can you read? Karim? Karim? The topic sentence introduces the
Miss what?
subject. Can you read, please, what the topic sentence give?
The topic sentence introducts the subject
Introduces.
that
Introduces.
and introduces the subject that writer will mention in pros
It's
and
the pros
cons.
and cons. Pros we mean advantages. When we say pros, we mean advantages. When we say cons, we mean sorry. Pros,
Disadvantages.
yes. Pros, advantages, and cons, disadvantages. Let me repeat it. Okay. Pros, advantages, and cons, disadvantages. So in that topic sentence, I have simply to mention the name of the topic, and that I will write its advantages and disadvantages just in one sentence. I'm going to show you an example at the end. Thank you, Karim. Okay, now what must I mention in the supporting sentences or in the details? Since I want to write about the advantages and disadvantages, then in the details I have to mention these advantages and disadvantages. So the supporting sentences follow one another in a logical sequence of steps. So we do not write them randomly, they must follow each other in a logical sequence. How? What do I mean? You have either two ways. Either you mention all the advantages, then you move to the disadvantages, okay? Or you move vice versa. I mean, you mention the disadvantages, then you move to the advantages, okay? So it's a free, you're free to do whatever you want. It's up to you. Um, just please pay attention to the order of the information. So either you mention all the advantages, then you mention the disadvantages, or you mention the disadvantages, then you mention the advantages. And there is something you have to pay attention to it. It's better to give an example on each supporting detail. To since we're giving information and facts, so we have to support our information, okay? To cite our information, to give a proof and an evidence on our information. So it's better if we give an example. So now I finished from the topic and the details. I mentioned all the advantages and disadvantages. Then what must I write now? The closing sentence, the concluding sentence. I want to wrap up my paragraph. Simply, the concluding sentence and the topic sentence are similar to each other, but they have different words. But they have what? Different words. So I can simply rewrite the topic sentence, rewrite it, I mean write the same idea, but using different words. Okay? So in the advantages and disadvantages paragraph, I have to start, don't forget the space, the indent at the beginning of the paragraph, because you have half a grade on it. Title, and then I write the topic sentence, which I mention in this sentence, the topic, and that I will talk about its advantages and disadvantages. Then I have to mention the details, all the advantages, then all the disadvantages, or vice versa. And I have to end my paragraph with a concluding sentence. Okay. Here I'm going to mention a lot of linking words. These linking words make your writing stronger, and it makes the reader understand the idea better. And pay attention, the linking words have grades also in your writing. For example, the usual transition signals like first, second, third, furthermore, moreover, besides, when you want to add information. When you want to introduce the advantages, you can use the main advantage, the most important advantage, the first advantage, the second advantage, another advantage, an additional advantage. Okay, so you have a plenty of words to use in order to introduce the advantages. Also, to introduce the disadvantages, you have plenty of transition signals like the most similar to advantage, but you write disadvantage. Okay, so the drawback of the main disadvantage, the most important disadvantage. Okay, you can have a look on the lecture to memorize these words more. If you want to introduce examples, you can say, for example, such as, like, therefore, for this reason, because, since. Okay, all of these words you use them while writing, I'm sure. Okay, but you have to pay attention to make your writing rich with these words, to make it stronger and easier to the reader to understand. So if you want to show opposite, if you want to move from advantages to disadvantages, or vice versa, you can use on the other hand, however, nevertheless, although, even though. Okay, these words you use to show contrast, opposite ideas, especially when you want to move from advantages to disadvantages. Okay. I'm going to read with you this paragraph, then I'm going to take your questions. So, the television, pros and cons. So, you see, this is the title. Simply, I'm talking about television. And what do I want to talk about the televisions especially? I'm going to mention pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. And please, guys, please pay attention that all the words except the articles and the conjunctions are small letter, but all the words are capital letter. The capitalized, television capitalized, pros capitalized, and cons capitalized. Okay? So this is the title. What do I start my paragraph with? An indent. Excellent. This is an indent. But don't put an arrow. No. Don't put an arrow. Please just leave a space. Now I have to start with the topic. sentence. حسن مغنية. حسن حسن مغنية. طيب اوكي.
Miss?
Yes. Hassan, can you read, please?
Yes. Television. TV is a wonderful invention of modern science. It has both advantages and disadvantages.
Okay,
To
stop, stop,
start with,
stop,
TV
stop, 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 stop,
broadcasts.
stop, stop, stop. Thank you. Thank you. Let's first focus on the topic sentence. Here we divided the topic sentence into two sentences. It's okay, I can do this. In the first part, I defined television. Yes, I have to give a general idea about my topic. I gave a general idea about the television. I'm telling the reader what is a television. And then I said that it has both advantages and disadvantages. So you see, you can, if you want, you can here put a semicolon instead of a period, so it would become a compound sentence. Okay, it would become one sentence. So television is a wonderful invention of modern science. So here I'm defining a television. I'm giving a general idea about television. Okay, and then I said it has both advantages and disadvantages. In your writing, you can simply say that. Since you're going to talk about mobile phones, I'm going to show you the writing part in the worksheet. So you can say what are mobile phones, then you can tell that they have advantages and disadvantages. You see, simple as that. The topic sentence, I have to give my topic and that I'm going to tell about advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so after the topic sentence, thank you, Hassan. After the topic sentence, I have to start with the advantages and disadvantages. Let's take Mahdi. Mahdi. Mahdi.
Miss?
Yes, can you continue reading?
Miss, can you hear me?
What?
Yes, Miss, I'm eating. It won't sound prompting because I
Um,
haven't
but you know that
eaten
you have a class now, so you have to take a breakfast before the class. Okay, it's okay. Let's take another student. Let's take another student. Uh, Rasha. Rasha.
Yes.
Okay, please
Yes.
read. Please read.
To start with,
Okay, Rasha, just a second. Just a
okay.
second. To
To
start with,
start with,
yes, to start
TV
with here the word,
broadcasts
please,
the
just a
world
second, Rasha,
and
Rasha,
local.
Rasha,
Yes.
Rasha, stop a little bit. Okay, so you said to start with. So when I read this word, I know that I'm going to start with explaining or with giving information. Okay, so to start with this word, this is a transition word that shows me that I'm going to start with my details. Continue, Rasha.
TV broadcasts the world and local news in addition to the
Forecast.
weather forecasts.
Okay, this is advantage or disadvantage, Rasha?
More okay.
This is an
Do I
advantage.
continue?
This is an advantage or disadvantage. The first sentence you read.
It's a advantage.
Excellent. So you see, I started with the advantages, then I have to continue with the advantages. Continue, Rasha.
Moreover,
You see here, I used
some channels
moreover,
present comic shows
moral, with a moral,
with a moral lesson for children or moral
or or
lesson
documentaries for children or
for
documentaries
children or documentaries
to
with
educate.
up-to-date subjects.
Bravo. So here is the second advantage. I started with the advantages, then I have to continue with the second advantages. Since I want to add an advantage, so I used moreover. Moreover. Okay? Continue, Rasha.
Besides,
Besides,
our mothers can learn to make our favorite dishes dishes by watching cooking episodes.
Okay, so you see, till now I mentioned the three advantages for
But
television. Okay, so and I used transition words, you see, to start with the first one. Moreover, I added the third advantage. Isn't this amazing? This shows me that I'm going to change my idea. However, look here, guys. However, this word shows me a contrast. So what does it mean? It means that I finished from the advantages and I want to move to the disadvantages. Thank you, Rasha. Thank you. So it shows that I finished from the advantages and I want to move to the disadvantages. Zahra, Zahra, Zahra. Okay, Zahra is not here. Hala, Hala,
Yes, miss.
can you continue reading? However,
However, television has plenty of disadvantages.
okay, just a second, Hala. So you see, guys, however, television
When
has a
we
plenty,
become
just a second, Hala, just a second. However, television has a plenty of disadvantages. The word, however, shows contrast that I finished from the advantages. Now I have to move to the disadvantages. And this sentence showed me that I'm going to talk about the disadvantages. Continue, Hala.
when we become addicted to TV, our eyes get tired.
Uh-huh.
For instance, we can suffer from
Yes.
short eyesight at a young age.
Age. Okay, thank you, Hala. Just a second.
To add,
Just a second, Hala. You see, guys, when we become addicted to TV, our eyes get tired. This is the first disadvantage. The writer here wants to help us understand it. How would our eyes get tired? For instance, means for example. So here he is giving an example, not another detail. Here he is giving an example to support his first disadvantage. We could suffer from short eyesight at a young age. Continue, Hala.
to add, students would be distracted from their studies.
So this is to add,
Also,
this means
television
another disadvantage.
creates
To add means that the writer is adding another disadvantage. Continue.
also television creates too much noise.
Too much noise. How?
Hence,
Hence means there's an example.
hence
Continue.
our minds our minds get cluttered
Cluttered.
with those
Get
sounds.
cluttered. Cluttered.
Cluttered with those sounds. And even our ears would be hurt.
Thank you,
To
Hala.
end
Thank you,
with,
Hala.
a
Thank you.
blessing
Hala,
may
Hala.
become a
Thank you.
disaster.
There is a strong delay with the voice. Okay, so as Hala started reading from, however, this means that I wanted to talk about the disadvantages, and I introduced that I'm going to talk about the disadvantages in a very short sentence. Then I started by mentioning them. One, when you become addicted to TV, your eyes get tired. I gave an example. For instance, means an example. We could suffer from short eyesight. To add shows that I'm going to add another disadvantage. Students would be distracted from their studies. Also, a third disadvantage, television creates too much noise, hence means an example to support the disadvantage before it. Our minds get cluttered with those sounds and even our ears would be hurt. To end with means that I'm going to finish my paragraph with a concluding sentence. I'm going to finish my paragraph with a concluding sentence, guys. To end with, I have to restate the topic sentence in different words. A blessing Blessing, we mean a good thing. A blessing may become a disaster, you see? A blessing may become a disaster. So television is good, but it could hurt us. This means that television has advantages and disadvantages. You see, in different words, a blessing may become a disaster if we use it wrongly. So we have to watch TV, but in an organized way. So here the writer at the end also gives you an advice. A blessing could turn into a disaster if you use it wrongly. So you have to pay attention how to use it in a good way in order not to hurt yourselves. Okay, guys? Something important I want to talk about, which is the form of the paragraph. I'm noticing that most of you are dividing the paragraph. No, miss. I'm saying one paragraph. English is different from Arabic. Okay? So you have to write it as one paragraph. Like this shape. You see here how I wrote it? Like this shape. One part, one paragraph. Do not split the topic sentence alone, the details alone, and the concluding sentence alone. No, miss. You have to put them in one paragraph form. One paragraph form with an indent and a title. Okay, guys? Please, please, please. Please, guys, don't forget that. Let me show you now. Let me show you now the worksheet. Just a second, guys. And I'm going to show you the writing part. Okay, let's share the screen. This is worksheet 2 for that you're going to solve at home. There is a vocabulary part, 2 questions A, B. There is three comprehension questions, 2 grammar questions, and the last one is the writing. The writing is graded. You have to submit only the writing. Miss, I don't want to see the answers of the rest of the exercises. No, just you have to submit the writing. When you go to the application, you're going to find a homework. In the homework file, it will take you to Google form where you have to write the paragraph and submit it. Mobile, let me talk about the homework, then I'm going to take your questions. Mobile phones are a type of portable device which is used for communication. So what must you talk about? Mobile phones. The usage of mobile phone is increasing day by day. Fill in the organizer with 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages of mobile phones. The organizer is very important. There are 2 points for the organizer, miss. And please don't write full sentences in the organizer. Just write phrases, clauses. Okay? For example, you want to say mobile phones helps in communication, just write facilitate communication. Facilitate communication. In the paragraph, you write a lot of details. Please, guys, stick to what I'm saying. In the organizer, write phrases. If you're not going to write phrases this time, I'm going to consider it all wrong. You're going to take 0 on the organizer. Okay, guys, please. When you finish from the organizer, you have to develop your paragraph on the lines below. You write it on a draft. I know that you don't have the worksheet. Most of you don't have the worksheet now. So you have to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of mobile phones, and it's better if you give an example on every advantage and disadvantage. Okay, if you want to add more than 2 advantages and more than 2 disadvantages, it's okay. But minimum, I want to find 2 by 2. If I do not find 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages, you're going to lose grades, guys. Okay, so this is the writing part that is a homework. Again, I repeat, the rest of the paragraph, the rest of the worksheet is not a homework. You have just to solve it by yourself at home during the weekend, and then we're going to correct it later together. Okay, let me take you in turn, Ibrahim. Ibrahim.
Yes.
Okay, what do you want to ask? Do you want
Nothing.
nothing? Why did you raise your computer hand? Okay, let me take Karim Laka.
I want to read.
Oh, it's okay. You wanted to read? Okay, خلاص. We finished reading now. Next time you will read, Ibrahim. Remind me. Okay? Don't worry. Okay, no. Where is Mahdi? Mahdi?
Yes, miss.
Do you have a
Miss,
question? What?
what are phrases? You said if we don't put them, we will take Z.
Miss phrases, very short sentences, not complete sentences. Clauses. Just I gave you an example. For example, if you want to say that the adverse advantage that it makes communication easier, you write makes communication easier. You don't write the first disadvantage of the mobile phones, blah blah blah, in the organizer. In the paragraph, you write complete sentences, but in the organizer, you just mention the idea makes communication easier. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
Rena, Rena,
Yes,
guys,
Miss.
do you have a question? Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
What
And
is
what
it?
will we read in the flip grid?
Your reading lesson, ya miss.
Yes.
Don't
What will we read in the flip grid?
your reading lesson, your reading lesson. Our electronic device is good for us. Your reading lesson. Just read a small part of
Okay.
it. Guys, do not forget the flip grid reading. Okay, guys?
What page is it?
What? What do you want to
What
say?
page is it?
What? I didn't hear you well.
Which page is it?
Which page?
Which page is it?
Miss, you do not
Yes.
write the pages down when I tell you in the lecture. It's maybe page 78, 79. 78.
No.
I think it starts at page 79. 79. Okay? Okay, who has another question? 79, yes. 78,
Okay.
79. Okay, who has another question? I saw other students raising their hands.